Well, howdy folks, you are on the Seek on the Speed 252 show. Scroll over to the right and click that subscribe button. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of Seek on the Speed 252. If this is your first time stopping by, please by all means hit that subscribe button. I would love for you to become part of the channel. We are growing. My goal is to hit 20,000 followers this year. You guys are amazing. And today we're going to talk about my C7 Corvette. A lot of you guys that is new to my channel or not new to my channel, I have a C7 Corvette that I bought in 2017, and I have a C8 Corvette that I just purchased and picked up in March. As you guys can see behind me, today's video is going to be about the C7 Corvette. Now, this video is the video that I want to make for a lot of you guys. So a lot of you guys who are in the market for a C7 Corvette reached out to me in emails and asked me this question. As you guys know, I recently made a video about my C8 Corvette and how much my monthly payment was. And I wanted to make that video because the C8 Corvette is obviously the new Corvette and it's a popular Corvette at the moment. And a lot of people want to know what that payment may cost them if they decide to purchase a brand new C8 Corvette. So me personally, I created a YouTube channel, like I said before, because I wanted you guys to be informed. I wanted you guys to have knowledge of what's out there, how to achieve those things, how to achieve your goals. And I wanted to show you that I am just an everyday American working a 9-to-5 job who has both of these cars, but I'm on the grind. I buy the simple things in life, but buy the things that makes me happy, right? My parents always told me that you will always be willing to spend your money on something that you care about. And I care about driving nice vehicles, and I don't really care about clothes and shoes, doing drugs, anything like that. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to put money to a side to afford the things I like to drive, which are Corvettes. So with that being said, today we're going to talk about my C7 Corvette and how much my monthly payment is. So that way I can teach you guys when you're in the market for your C8 or your C7 Corvette, what to strive for regarding your interest rates, your credit score. If you're not there with your credit score right now, maybe wait a little bit longer and see if you can get a better credit score. If you have a little money to put down towards the car and things like that. So I'm hoping that this video will teach you guys and understand how to go about getting your dream car the best way possible. And these things apply to any other, Corvettes, C5, C4s. It applies to any other cars that you're interested in. These things you have to look into when it comes down to purchasing your Corvette. And you want to make sure that you buy from the dealership that treats you the best. Make sure you buy from the dealership that has the best interest rates, offer you the best loans and things like that, if you're not paying cash for it. Now, I did not pay cash for my C7, which is still behind me, nor my C8. That's not something I do. I'd rather spend that money to put towards, the stock market. Maybe if the stock market is going great, it has ups and downs right now. I want to use that money for a rainy day. For instance, I got a mortgage payment right now. I have this car payment and my other car payment. I want to make sure, just in case there's a rainy day, things could change basically with this economy and how 2020 has been thus far. You never know, so you want to save that money for a rainy day. So once again, we have my C7 Corvette right behind me. This is a 2017. I bought this car brand new. I made a video recently of how much I actually paid for that car, for this car. So definitely go ahead and check out that video so you understand how much I paid for this car. And I'll go ahead and talk about a little bit in this video as well. I ordered this car from Corvette, and the MSRP at the time in 2017 was $76,000, so in that price range. But out the door, I got this car for $60,000. Now, I'll admit, I was in the market for a Corvette at the time. I knew I wanted to get this car to start a YouTube channel. So to me, I was either going for a Z06 and a GrandSport, and I didn't know which one I wanted, so I wanted to drive both to kind of get a good feel of which car I would like to own. So for me, what I decided to do, I drove both, but the bad thing was I drove both while they wasn't in their full break-in period. I drove both cars under 500 miles, so the power felt the same to me. And so in reality, I couldn't distinguish which one I wanted. But as time going on and I drove a Z06 and a GrandSport, They both feel about the same, but the Z06 obviously has a little bit more horsepower with 650 horsepower, while the GrandSport has 460. And that's a big difference. 650 horsepower in the Z06 compared to a 460 horsepower car is completely different. But I will admit, 460 horsepower, guys, is all you really need, unless you're drag racing it, unless you're like you and your buddies or going to the drag strip a lot. Other than that, 460 horsepower will get you on an everyday basis. Now, if you want a car for bragging rights, the Z06 and the 01 is where you need to be. If you want a nice Corvette, clean, you know, sounds good, sounds throaty, enough horsepower to get you by, the GrandSport, the Stingray is all you really need. So as you can see, you know, I got my door up over there. It's just another mod that I decided to do later on. I'm gonna pop the hood so you guys know this is a GrandSport. There's no supercharger. This is just naturally aspirated GrandSport, baby. As you can see right now, GrandSport. And so I wanted to make this video, like I said before, because I want to teach you guys how to be able to purchase your dream car the best way, financially smart for you and your pocket and your budget. There's so many steps, there's so many ways, there's so many things you can do to get in your dream car. Like I said before, things you want to check into is, you know, your credit score. You want to make sure your credit score is pretty good, so you're not getting, you know, cheated on with interest rates. You want to make sure you save money. You want to make sure that if you're saving money, make sure you save enough so if you have a rainy day with a car payment, you can go in your savings account, pour that money out and make a car payment. You don't want to take all your money and put it down towards a car. That's a bad idea. That's just my personal opinion, but you guys may have a different budget from me. I'm gonna give you a prime example. I got a buddy of mine who I helped buy his car recently. He had a Dodge Challenger. Oh, he wanted a Dodge Challenger. So I helped him find that car with a case and B, and I asked him how much money he had to put down. And he said, right now I got $3,000 in my savings account. And I asked him, was that all you had to put down? And he said, yes. I said, okay, you do not want to put down the $3,000. What you probably want to do is you want to see if you can finance that whole entire car instead of putting down the $3,000, because him putting down the $3,000 wasn't going to make a big difference in the car payment, and he's going to put $3,000 inside of the car and then he wasn't having any money for a rainy day. That doesn't make sense. Do not do that. If you only have $5,000, $3,000, $2,000 and you know the dealership is asking you for a down payment, I would say don't put anything down. Your goal is to try to get the whole entire car financed by the bank. But that will also depend on your credit report, your credit score. If your credit score good, they will most likely finance the whole entire car for you. If your credit score isn't that great, they may require you to put some down. But if you only have a little bit of money saved up, it doesn't make sense to put a lot down. If, for instance, you got $5,000 saved up and they say something like, hey, maybe put down $1,000, that's possible, that's doable. I would say put down $1,000 to get your dream car. But if you have, you know, $5,000, they require you to put down that whole entire $5,000, then I would think you need to go to a dealership or a bank that will actually give you the financing, or wait until you save a little bit of money or get your credit score up in order to purchase that dream car. Because like I said before, having cash on hand is very important. It's one of the most important things you need to do when it comes to finance, because you never know when there's a rainy day. This is 2020, this is a pandemic, no one projected this to happen, and a lot of people are out of jobs, unemployment, things have gone up because, you know, money in hand is very valuable, you know, the mortgage and things like that. So you want to make sure you have money and cash on hand. So when I bought this car, I went to my personal bank and I said, hey guys, I'm in the market for a C7 Corvette. I went back to the bank that I was dealing with before. I owned a before I bought this car, I owned a Camaro, 5th gen, 6-cylinder, 5th gen Camaro. 2011. I bought it used. At that time, I didn't really have any credit. I literally applied to so many dealerships for financing on that Corvette, and nobody would give me the loan for that car. I mean, nobody. Like I said before, I had no credit. I had a little bit of money saved up, but I had no credit. When I, you know, did an application report online, I did a lot of Chevrolet dealerships, Ford dealerships who had used Camaros. All of them came back declined. It was like, you know, we can't give you the loan for this car. You don't have established enough credit. If you want, we can get you a cosigner. I didn't have a cosigner. I don't know my dad, my real dad, true story. I had my mom, but my mom credit wasn't good either. Her credit score was probably like a 426. That wasn't going to get me anywhere. So I wanted to find something that would help me get this car. Guys, you don't understand how bad I was looking at this Camaro. I really wanted this Camaro so bad. And it was one of those things where my first car that I ever owned, I paid cash for. I paid $7,000 cash for it, saved it up and bought that car. So that car didn't help me establish any credit whatsoever. So don't let people fool you. If you go out there and buy a car right now, cash, it doesn't help you establish your credit score whatsoever. It does nothing for you. All you would do is you would pay cash for a car. They would send you the title in the mail. That's it. It won't be on a credit report. It won't be in your credit history. None of that stuff. So if you're paying cash for a car, by all means, go ahead and do it, but it's not gonna help you establish any credit. If you're trying to establish credit, you maybe want to get 2 or 3 credit cards, maybe one and start off with a low balance, whatever the case may be, so that way you're able to establish your credit a little bit easier. So if you're trying to establish your credit and you haven't really bought anything before, I would advise you to go get you a credit card of some sort, whether it's from your current bank or from another bank. That way, use that credit card to help you establish your credit. Pay your balance on time. I say when I first got my first 2 credit cards, Bank of America gave me a credit card for $500 and another bank gave me one for $400. And I used that credit card to my best ability. I made sure I paid it off on time, paid a monthly payment, and make sure there wasn't issues, and that helped me establish my credit. But once again, if you're interested in buying a car and you plan on paying cash for it, it's not going to help you establish any credit whatsoever. So when I was interested in getting a Camaro, I went to the Chevrolet dealership and the Ford dealerships, and they all fill out the credit report online. They all declined me. Said, nope, you don't have enough credit. You need a co-signer, or we can't give you the loan for the car. So what I did was I went to the banks I had the credit cards from. Pay attention to what I'm saying. Before I bought the Camaro, I got 2 credit cards that helped me establish my credit. And I got the credit cards. One of them was $500, the other one was a $400 limit, and I paid my balance on time every single time. What that does is it establishes your credit, but it proves to the bank that this guy is a guy we can loan money to, and he will pay us back. Now, granted, $500 compared to a $20,000 car is 2 different type of numbers. But what it does is, if the bank can see that you're paying your credit cards on time, that you're making consistent money, and they're willing to give you a chance. So what I did was I contacted one of the banks that I applied to with the credit card, and I said, hey, you guys, I'm interested in buying a Camaro. It's $23,000. I know I don't have a lot of credit with all the other banks. I talked to them, they wouldn't, they kept denying me. Well, my bank said, how about this, Clarence? We'll give you the loan for the car. We're not going to require you to put anything down, but if you want to put something down, by all means, do it. We know you have a good credit standing with us, good credit balance, and we're willing to take this risk and get this opportunity. Now, I will admit, I had a friend of mine who worked at that same bank, and he wouldn't even give me the loan for the car. A friend of mine that was close to mine wouldn't even give me the loan for the Camaro. He said, nope, I can't do it. I'm giving you to my manager. So he sent me off to the manager, and the manager approved me for the loan. And so what happened was I got that car, and I told the bank and my friend I would have this car paid off in 3 years. 3 years. I got a 6-year loan on that Camaro. And in 3 years, I had that car paid off. I lied to you not, guys. In 3 years, I had that Camaro paid off. Now, the reason why I had that Camaro paid off was because I saved money up. I worked hard. I didn't work just one job. I worked little side gigs, saved the money up. I ate at home a lot. I ate out only when my friends wanted to eat out, because at that point in time, I felt, obligated to eat out with my friends and, make sure I had enough money to cover that bill. But when I was eating by myself, I would cook meals at home, portion it out, and, got me through the week. I didn't buy Jordans. I didn't buy shoes. I didn't buy drugs. I didn't buy cigarettes. I didn't buy things like that. Now, there's nothing wrong with buying alcohol and cigarettes if that's what you prefer. I just decided not to do those things. I want to use that money to help me pay off my Camaro a lot quicker. So when I paid my car off in 3 years, and I went back to the bank telling them I wanted to purchase a Corvette. Immediately, right away, no problem whatsoever. The guy was like, yep, Clarence, we got you covered. Let us know when you want to get this car, what your loan term will be, and all that great stuff. So I decided to, take my time, research the car, and do some thorough background checks on the C7 Corvette. And like I said before, I purchased this car from Corvette, which is one of the top of the line dealerships in the country, which made it easier for me to get this car in the first place. Now, there were other places that were selling this car for more expensive than it needed to be, but Corvette sold it to me for $60,000 out the door. When I went to get the bill of sale from Corvette, they sent it to me in an email. I sent it to my bank cut the check, and then from there I flew down to Corvette, picked the car up, drove it back, and now I'm sitting inside, at that time, a brand new 2017 Corvette GrandSport. Guys, you wouldn't understand the smile I had on my face at the time I was driving this car back. I got so many high fives and all that stuff when I was driving back. It was insane. It was just me like, oh, I'm just driving a car. But no, it just looked that cool. It was clean, crisp C7 Corvette. So when I came back, we took it to the bank. The bank was like really proud of me. They was like, God, like, you did a phenomenal job. You went from not being able to get a car loan from other banks in the past to buying a Camaro, to paying it off in 3 years, proving to us that you was able to pay off a car not in the 6-year term, but in 3 years, and then go out and get a C7 Corvette. And it's one of those things where the C7 Corvette obviously was a lot more expensive than the Camaro was. 60 grand compared to $23,000 is a big difference in price. But my goal, once again, to get in this car, create a YouTube channel, explaining people how to get their dream car, how to get their finances together so they can afford this car as well. And that's what I wanted to do, and this is what I'm doing today, making this video. So with my C7 Corvette, I decided to get a 6-year long term at State Employees Credit Union. In my area at least, no matter what your credit score is, whether you got a 600, 800, if you get the same long term, whatever the case may be, you're gonna get the same interest rate as everyone else. And that's just how the credit unions work in my area. So if you got an 800 credit score compared to somebody that has a 600 credit score, you both go in and you want a 6-year loan, they're gonna say, okay, both your interest rate is 4%, equal as that. Or if you got an 800 credit score, they would probably tell you to go out to another bank to see if you can get a better interest rate. State Employees Credit Union has did that for me at one point in time, and which is what I did. So right now, for my C7 Corvette, I pay $642 a month for my C7 Corvette. Now, $642 isn't that bad for a brand new C7 Corvette. Now, you guys may at this point may find something used where your Corvette payment may be a little bit lower. You guys, once again, my C7 Corvette payment is $642. You may get a better car payment than that. For me, that car payment works for me. For you guys who out there looking for, and that was brand new at the time. This is now used. So if you guys looking for a used C7 Corvette, you may be able to get a car payment, you know, $500, $400, depending on your bank, your credit score, how much money you put down, and things like that. You definitely want to make sure you do your research though, because the best thing you can do is go out there and find your Corvette or your car that works for your budget. Find your budget, make your budget, and then go out and get that car that will work in your budget. Don't go out there and just buy an expensive car hoping it fits in your budget, because you don't want to get it repoed. You don't want to ruin your credit. That's not what you want to happen. Find your budget, find your monthly payment that you're okay with, make that car work in your budget. Now, this is my personal opinion. Once again, I did not buy this car in North Carolina. I bought this car outside of North Carolina because I realized that most of the cars that I buy is cheaper out of state. And for me personally, I'd rather drive out of state and save some money than to buy a car in state and spend a lot more money. This is what I'm saying, you guys. Go on Auto Trader, go on cars.com, go on these websites. Maybe you may have a friend of yours who goes to auctions and things like that. Find your car that's within your budget. Now, you may be able to find a car in your state that works in your budget. That's completely fine. But if you living in Virginia and there's a car in Maryland that's cheaper than the one in Virginia, go get it. You're about to save yourself $2 to $3 grand. A quick drive back will not cost you as much as spending $3 grand over time with an interest rate. I'm telling you right now, I will most likely buy my car going forward out of state because it's cheaper to do so than it is to buy it in state. Now, depending on the tax and all that stuff could be different. Like I said, my tax in North Carolina is 3%. So it's a lot easier for me to buy a car out of state and get charged a 3% tax than it is to buy a car somewhere else and get charged their tax. It's just, to me, it makes it a lot easier. So once again, guys, my car payment for my C7 Corvette is $642. And I'm telling you right now, it works for me, it works for my budget. I know some of you guys are like, well, you're making 2 monthly payments on 2 vehicles. Yes, I have a C7 Corvette and I have a C8 Corvette, and I have monthly payments on both of those cars. But I can tell you right now, you know, a lot of people say, well, you know, cars are bad debt. I will agree with you. Cars is bad debt. Cars depreciate. It's one of those things where the more money you put in cars, the less money you get back out of it. But as you guys know, my motto is every mile brings me a smile, and you get one life. And if you want to be happy in one life, whether you want to buy a car, whether you want to travel, whether you want to put in your retirement account, what it case be, do it. But do what makes you happy. Me, I love driving nice cars. I love driving nice cars. That's my thing. I can dress like a bum all day long and don't care. But if I'm driving something clean and nice, I'm good with that, you guys. So for me, I don't have a problem with buying something that depreciates. Now, I will admit this. I am, you know, smart when it comes down to someone investing. And at the end of the day, yes, I'm saving up for retirement accounts. At some point, I hope to retire. I got a mortgage on my house as well. You know, houses is something that land, property, whatever the case to be like that, use time increases. So you maybe want to invest money into buying houses. And you might want to figure out the best way or strategy of getting one of those bad boys. And so for me, I rather save money on the back end doing other things, but I also enjoy my cars. And the reason why, like I said before, I have these cars because I love driving them, but I also enjoy making YouTube videos and helping you guys out with knowledge and information you may need in order to buy a Corvette in the future, or your Honda, or your Prius, or your Mustang, or your Dodge Challenger, or your Viper, whatever the case may be, your Lamborghini, your McLaren, whatever. Most of those guys who buys Lamborghinis and McLarens usually have a lot of money, and they're probably not watching my videos anyway, because they're not going to look at Corvette content unless they're interested in buying a C8. Then they may come over to my channel. But you guys, these cars compete with the Lamborghinis and things like that. Don't get it wrong, Corvette is stepping their game up, especially with the C8 Corvette. So it's on another level compared to owning a C7. But the C7 body style, man, look at it, it's freaking phenomenal. It's crazy how bad this car looks right now. It's a bad machine. So let's go recap of some of the things I mentioned earlier that can help you get inside of your dream vehicle. So one, what you want to do is you want to work out a budget. You want to figure out what your budget is for your new vehicle. Figure out if it's going to work in your current budget. And if you already got a budget, then you want to check your credit score. You want to make sure your credit score is decent, so that way that you don't get robbed with interest rate. Because if your credit score isn't that great, then they're not going to really give you the interest rate that you need, and you're going to have a high car payment. That's not what you're going to be looking for. If you don't have any credit at all established right now, and you kind of fairly new to this channel, and you watch my channel because I inspire you, which I'm so glad that I do, you want to get yourself a credit card. And you want to make sure that, you know, your credit limit isn't that high, but you want to make sure you make that credit card payment every single time. So what I usually do is, when I first got that credit card, which was $500, you know, I use it to, you know, eat, buy groceries with, put gas in my car. You want to make sure that your credit utilization is under 30%. And what you want to do is you want to pay that credit card off every single time. If you owe $30.22, you pay $30.22. I know they give you a minimum balance, but that minimum balance is okay. It won't hurt your credit, but that interest is going to apply and occur the next following month. And you want to keep paying your credit card on time to help you establish credit. So once you get all that stuff credit taken care of, then you go to a bank or two, fill out an application or whatever this car may be located. If you find a dealership that's like, you know, kind of small but on the side, a mom and pop one, they most likely won't have any credit applications, so you may have to go to your own bank and get financed. But, you know, bigger dealerships like Chevrolet, Ford, Dodge, things like that, they would have a credit application you can fill out online, try to get approved. If you don't get approved, maybe go back to your credit card bank, and that way if you got a good standing credit with them, they may allow you to get the car through them, and then you pay them back for the car. But it's one of those things where, like I said, you get one life, one opportunity. If you want to drive something nice, put yourself in the best position to do so. Credit scores are important. I don't care what nobody tells you. They may say, oh, it's not that important if you got cash. If you got cash, fine. But credit scores are definitely important. There's no way around it. You may be a billionaire, then credit scores is not important. Millionaire, credit scores is not important. But if you're working a 9-to-5 job like I am, your credit scores and your credit report is very important. And you know, most millionaires, they do become millionaires, and sometimes they go broke because they're not financially spending their money the right way. To them, they may say, oh, I'd rather pay $3 grand and buy this car in state than to look and do more research and buy a car out of state. That's my personal preference. So with that being said, you guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope this information helped you. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email, what the case may be. Hopefully I can make videos on helping you with your future dream car and things like that. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, definitely please do so. If you haven't checked out my website, which is www.cgoningspeed252.com, on that website it's some merch items. My popular thing is key tags. They're selling for $10 right now. I will mail it out to your house. I greatly appreciate your support on the channel. I'm going to hop in my C7 Corvette and drive this bad boy some more, so that way I can put more miles on it and put more smiles on my face, you guys. Hope you guys are having a great day, and I will catch you guys in the episode of C Going to Speed 252.